Hey guys, Aggie K Wealth Therapist, hopping on with you to talk about charging that amount of money is obscene. Okay, feeling triggered or just noticing, maybe it's not even a trigger, maybe it's something milder than that, but it's just noticing that feeling of judgment around, or just a sensation around how much somebody charges for something. And it can be anything from services to a lawyer, to an interior designer, to whatever it might be, to a director, to a celebrity. And people have a lot of opinions about this and a lot of judgment about it, and can get really self-righteous about what people charge and whether it's ethical or unethical. And for me specifically, I'm going to be talking about the money mindset aspect of this, because it's not my priority to talk about all aspects of this, because it's a huge, huge topic, right? And it brings up so many things that are under the surface. And what we're looking for when we're talking about money mindset is what's going on under the surface, okay? What's going on in the back of your mind about it? Because people can say, oh, good for that person, good that they can feel worthy of charging that. But what's really going on in the back of your mind around somebody's prices who you think are just astronomical, are very expensive, are obscene? And it's funny because it's been coming up a lot. I noticed it even yesterday when I was at a pharmacy with my dad getting him some medication, like natural stuff. And the woman at the counter kept apologizing for how much everything cost, and kind of like warning me and like preparing me. And I was like, wow, her money mindset is really kind of like intense around this. Like she feels bad about charging this, or she's like preparing people if she's had really negative feedback about how much things cost. Where, we were kind of like, whatever, it is what it is, and prepared to spend what it costs for the stuff. But she was doing all this stuff that it starts to trigger you when somebody's insecure about what they're charging. It starts to trigger the other person to be like, oh, well, maybe that is a lot of money. I don't know. I didn't think about it, or I wasn't worried about it until you planted that seed. So it's interesting what happens for us when somebody else is holding that space. If somebody's holding confidence around their price, and they're holding like a deep security around their price, it's kind of like, it is what it is. It's not necessarily triggering me. It's maybe not something I can budget for at this moment. But what we're interested in looking at is when you are triggered by a price, and when you are triggered by what somebody's charging and what's actually going on there, or, if you get triggered by your own pricing, because what's going to happen in your subconscious is when you make a price increase, it's like any big leap, right? For your subconscious, any big leap, if you're not used to leaping, if you're not used to taking huge risks, if you're not used to that pattern, that neural pathway being really well tread in your subconscious, then there's going to be backlash for it, right? Like either in the way of like clients kind of backlashing at you, or just not being able to sustain it, not being able to have a sales conversation about it, avoiding it. There will be some kind of struggle in your subconscious if that leap is too big around pricing. So what's really going on when someone's saying those are obscene prices? So you can say that's an obscene price, or it's just not for me. That's one thing. If you're triggered by it, there's a judgment going on. There's like, that is incredibly bad. That's a bad thing to do. You shouldn't charge that much. It's unethical. It's wrong to do that. So there's a judgment going on. Whenever there's a judgment going on, that's your ego kicking in, creating some kind of separation. Like, I am not like those people, or those people are doing something that's unethical, or those people are doing something that's bad. So you know your ego's kicking in. And we're not talking about whether it's ethical or not, right? That's kind of a different discussion. We're talking about what your mindset is doing, like what's going on with your money mindset if you're affected by somebody else's pricing, if that brings stuff up for you. It's creating some sort of separation. I'm not like them, or there's something intrinsically bad about charging that much. There's a judgment there, like those are bad people. There's an assumption there that they're not worth the money, that they're scammers, that that it's just wrong, that they're taking money from people, that they're encouraging people to spend money they don't have, that everybody's broke. There's also an assumption that like everybody's broke and nobody can afford that. Which is coming from a place of everybody's broke, which is coming from a place of not everybody has the possibility of making that choice. Not everybody has the possibility of abundance. Not everybody has the possibility of, and not everybody does, but it's not for everybody, right? Necessarily, if we're talking about things that are really high priced. So you want to take a look at what's really underneath that for you. What do you really think is underneath that? Because you're going to hold a certain value, like it's okay for a lawyer to charge this much, or it's okay for a plastic surgeon to charge this much, or it's okay for, someone who's in a profession that you really value to charge this much. But you might be triggered around a profession like, how come an artist can charge this much for splattering paint on a canvas, right? It kind of depends on what you value, and you want to take a look at that, especially if it's reflecting something that you do, your own service or your own career, right? If you're looking at another artist or another, real estate agent or another consultant or another coach, and you're saying, well, what they're charging is totally insane, then what's that saying about how you value your services, and where you are in that spectrum, and why are you worried about it? Like, why is it bringing stuff up for you? So when that comes up, you want to take a look at it, because there's a whole lot of, whenever we're looking at judgment, you're going to be releasing money mindset blocks. For sure, you're going to be releasing money mindset blocks when you're releasing judgment around what people are charging, because you're releasing that judgment around what you're charging, which is excellent and amazing. And you can be happy charging, it's about finding what's right for you. It's not necessarily about anybody else, but it's about clearing you of any judgment of what you're charging and what you need to support your lifestyle and your choices and your desires, right? And that's kind of the cool thing about the money mindset stuff is like, you get to release that, right? You get to release that whenever you look at, okay, what do I think of what this person is charging? What does that have to do with me? Why, what's going on for me underneath that? Take a look, because it really doesn't matter what they charge. That's up to them. And that's, what matters to you for your money mindset is what you're charging. What does that bring up for you? And does that bring up like a sense of, it's not fair, or not everybody's going to have the chance to do that? Or what does it bring up for you? And explore that and see what's going on in there. Because the more that you release around that judgment, the freer you are to charge what you need to. And that's where we want to get to. We want to get to some freedom around what it is that you're charging that feels good, in clearing all the money stuff, right? Because there's digging underneath. Yesterday I was talking with a client around what she's charging, what she feels she can charge. And when we got to the bottom of it, there was a sense of, I don't want to encourage people to spend money they don't have. And the assumption there is I'm attracting clients who do not have money for my services, right? Because I've only ever been surrounded by people who don't have money for my services, right? So there's a deeper thing going on there that's about your money mindset, right? Not necessarily about theirs. You're making that assumption that you're only attracting people who don't have the money to do things. Where, when you structure your business, if that matters to you, if you're serving like a whole different, a whole spectrum of what people can afford, and it matters to you, then you make pricing that they can also afford. My business has, the gamut of stuff that's $30 and tons of stuff that's free, like 100+ videos you can learn from and make money from on YouTube. And then stuff that's $30 and $300 and $3,000. Because I serve all through the spectrum of what people can afford. And that is important to me. So, but you want to take a look at what's underneath and what assumptions are you making about the type of clients that you're attracting, because maybe that needs to shift. Like, do you always have to be serving people or only serving people who don't have enough? Can you also be serving other kinds of clients? And what's going on for you when you hear those kinds of prices? Like, what is the sensation that it brings up? Explore that. That is gold for you. That is gold for you. Whatever you find in there, I can almost guarantee is going to clear blocks for you and allow you to bring in more income. So let me know how it goes. Drop your questions in the comments. I'm going to hop on a call right now. And hope you guys have an amazing day. PTP starts the first week of September. If you want to join me in that, I'll drop the link below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Aggie K, Wealth Therapist. If you like this, please share and love, like, share. Mwah. Bye.